I first want to thank you for participating in our quarterly town hall meetings. This is a way for City Hall to come out to your community, to be able to present different issues and topics that we have at hand. And with that, what we like to do is start off our meeting with the Vision El Monte video, but geared towards the development community, that we could show this video for the developers to get an idea of what the vision looks for El Monte.
The city of El Monte, known historically as the end of the Santa Fe Trail, today El Monte looks to the genesis of a new path, a new vision, Vision El Monte. In the midst of the Great Recession, the El Monte City Council showed its strength and took action. These dedicated officials demonstrated their leadership and foresight by appointing a new city manager, as well as their courage by supporting a comprehensive vision to dramatically improve the city. And their fortitude is paying off. Vision El Monte embraces a holistic approach to the city's challenges, starting internally by filling key executive staff positions and moving outward towards employment growth, economic development, and infrastructural improvements fused together by the imperative of public safety. The El Monte Gateway, an exciting transit-oriented development, stands as the flagship of this vision. With mixed housing, commercial, retail, entertainment, and recreational development along the Rio Hondo, the Gateway answers some of the city's toughest questions.
How do we make El Monte grow? How do we bring retail into El Monte? How do we bring the parks, the park space, infrastructure? How do we bring all these things that our community is asking for and needs that are going to help the city grow economically? We needed to really come up with a comprehensive plan that would help us move the city forward and bring new revenue and retail in the city to help us grow.
At the core of the Gateway lies the new El Monte bus station, which has already broken ground. This substantial upgrade of the transportation hub represents the primary catalyst for the city's future growth.
We're working to ensure that this is just the start of good things to come. We're thinking ahead and we're coordinating locally, regionally, and at the state and federal levels to ensure El Monte continues to be the hub of progress and the gateway to smarter, faster, more cost-efficient travel.
We established a partnership with MTA and the vision of replacing an existing bus station that attracts approximately about 20,000 people per day and building a new facility that brings 50,000 people per day. 50,000 people per day will be coming in and out of El Monte, and building a project that's of mixed use that brings in retail, brings in commercial, and brings in mixed-use housing that all revolves around transportation.
Vision El Monte casts hope for a vibrant future. And yet the vision works hard to care for the people of the city every day, reaching out with meaningful events and services that address real needs, share heartfelt joys, and achieve noteworthy accomplishments, such as the El Monte Job Fair, the new Win Hyundai auto dealership and job recruitment event, local and regional bus station planning for the 21st century, the El Monte Children's Day Parade, and securing new ownership for the city's now top-producing Nissan dealership. Ultimately, Vision El Monte enriches the lives of the hardworking people of the city, encouraging residents and visitors alike to explore, experience, and enjoy all that El Monte has to offer. The city of El Monte. Yesterday, the end of the Santa Fe Trail. Today, the start of a new path, a new vision. Vision El Monte.
City staff. What we'll do now is introduce Julio Morales. He's our finance director. And because this is a budget season for most cities, we wanted to give you a presentation on city budget.
I think the first thing to talk about, we did actually, the City Council provided a interim budget. They passed an interim budget. One of the things I'd done a few weeks earlier is told them that we're going to have slightly lower revenues than expected, and that we may have to make some budget adjustments, a few percentage points here and there. If we look at the general fund budget, it's about $51.8 million. Okay? About half of our budget comes in the general fund. This is money that we have flexibility to spend in. As I said, it's where most salaries and benefits are paid out of. But we actually have flexibility in spending and timing of cash flows. There's special revenue funds, which is another $25 million. This is a lot of these capital projects get spent. Proposition A, Proposition C, Measure R. These are sales tax monies that we often get, well, that we do get from the MTA for transportation and similar related projects. Also, federal monies. Okay, enterprise funds. This is our water fund and our sewer enterprise fund, that there's a sewer tax. I think there's a member on, one or two members on the sewer commission, right? So we have a couple there. They're aware of that. We have internal service funds. These are funds that we service, and these are charges that we have for workers' compensation and or liability. This is how we pay for lawsuits, claims, and workers' comp claims. Okay? We have a very small amount for capital projects. I think that's a really important thing for people to really understand, because the general fund is paying for a very small amount in capital projects. That actually comes from bond proceeds. This is a pie chart that kind of shows you how revenues, expenses are set up. I'm sure it does. The majority of our expenses are salaries and bennies, about 65% or so. The rest goes towards O&M. The significant portion of our general fund budget goes to pay for safety costs, both police and fire. This is what we're looking at right now. At the end of the year, I actually had, well, I had a budget of $51.8 million. I actually expect that I will have about $15.6 million. So I'm not going to get as much revenue as I expected. Now, there is some good news and unfortunately some bad news. I've talked about this in the past, that the UUT, Utility Users Tax, is not going to be as high as expected. Okay? People just aren't using their home phones. Start calling, using that home phone as much as possible. Going to help us out. Sales tax is up, guys. Okay? So some of the measures, the Hondais, sales tax is up, so that's a good. Okay. Business license and permits are down a bit, charge for services. Well, the truth is that some people aren't renting the facilities or using services as much. Engineering services aren't up. People aren't building things. You know, as I tell people the reasons, I was like, okay, that makes sense. I mean, if the economy is slow, that means we're going to be down in some of the services, the revenues that we generate ourselves. So the impact is we're down in revenues. Use of money and property, some of the interest income that we receive. Other revenue. So almost every other little component is down a little bit. Are they off tremendously? Well, those are large numbers. On the budget, on a percentage basis, not terribly, guys. Okay? As you look at that adjustment, I hit at 98%. Okay. On the expense side, I actually think that we're going to be right at budget, maybe a couple $100,000 under budget. How do we do this? Well, okay, those are expenses as to June. So we're at $49 million June 30th. I got all my expenses through June 30th, but last year, $2.7 million of the expenses rolled in July and August. That's how I got to that number. I know I have some of them, but that's how I'm getting there. I know it's not as scientific as you'd expect, absolutely. But this is the best we can do to this point. By August 15th, I would have had all of July numbers in there, and then that's what we're going to work from. We'll have an even better budget. So we're coming back to the City Council in September, working on pretty much numbers through the end of July, a little bit through August, and I think we'll have a better aspect. The important thing is we need time to make adjustments. These are small adjustments, not huge ones, so that's kind of what we're looking at.
So what we'd like to do is take any questions that you may have regarding any items.
That Walmart can do. When you bring a store together, all these little small businesses are going to completely decimate for good.
One of the things that I think is important to look at when you look at Walmart is purely on the surface level. Currently, they can bring anywhere from about 400 to 500,000 annually in the city, just one store alone. They bring over 200 jobs, one store alone. Cumulatively, that project will bring over 800 jobs, both temporary and permanent. So the question then goes back to, could it potentially affect another business? I'm not going to lie and say that it can affect any other business. I think I'd be lying if I made that statement. The reality is we live in a capital market and it's a free economy, and if there's competition, there's competition. But I think the reality is, simply from my own personal opinion and looking at the product offerings that are in the Valley Mall versus what may be at Walmart, will be different. They will be a different kind of product, a different kind of consumer.
Well, what is your agenda in the first place to bring economy, development projects, and so forth? I know we are hearing no projects are coming in our city. That's the second question I would like to, if you can answer that for us, please.
The very first, the question about unemployment. we have sort of a three-prong approach, and we have, in the past 10 months, aggressively tried to deal with that issue with job fairs. And we've had a great success. We've had employers that come to our community center, and only those that are offering positions at that time are eligible to be part of the job fair. And we've had from 2,000 participants to 4,000 participants on the different job fairs. That's one approach that is immediate that the city has implemented. The second is when businesses are thinking of relocating to El Monte, we will try and provide incentive programs to hire local residents. And that has been proven with Win Hyundai. They had 40 jobs available, and they were able to allocate 20 to El Monte residents.
You don't know how many dollars this city is losing because we don't have retail around that station. That people on their way home from work, they get in their cars, they don't want to drive forever to get something. If there was a Walmart or a Kohl's or whatever over in that mall or close to it, we would be getting those tax dollars from people that live outside the city because they drive right by it. So I really see a brighter future for the city of El Monte, and I want to thank you for your hard work in making it that way.
I understand that we may have a high-speed rail coming through El Monte in the future, if I'm mistaken. Somebody tell me.
But one of the things that I think is important to note, just kind of an update from a high-speed rail perspective, is the city and the city council have voted unanimously to enter into a planning study process with the high-speed rail authority. And what that means is to analyze what a high-speed rail station means to the city of El Monte, both in trip counts, both in how it would affect our ability to recruit retailers for the Gateway project, as well as really make El Monte that much more of a destination.
What I wanted to do, just to, if there are any more questions, what I wanted to do just to highlight a couple of things that the city is, that has been working on. The pictures that you're watching on the slide, the slide presentation here, is the Gibson Mariposa Park that is under construction. And I did want to acknowledge Maria Valdez, who is sitting in the audience and has been one of the leaders in getting this project underway and constructed. We had one of the residents mention that it's been 11 years, and we were able to finally break ground this year. And with the assistance of our Public Works Director, we were able to get the project under the engineer's estimate, continues to be under the engineer's estimate, and will be completed by early November. The one thing that I do want to say is thank you for being here. We appreciate it because we believe that your participation makes our job a lot more meaningful. So thank you for that.